USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the 5 spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Your host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, and of course Queens, New York native who is also a New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you are now rocking with me by tuning in, listening, streaming, and watching the 98th episode of the Sports Edition show of Excellent, Fun, Vibrant Talks podcast. We are live and direct from StreamYard alongside of the comfort of my room and YouTube. In case you didn't know and missed out on any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to actually subscribe to the channel. And also, if you'd like to level up on your live streams, if you are a streamer or a podcaster who has his or her own show, whatever it may be, you might want to check out StreamYard.com. All right. All you need to do is set up an account and of course you can get a $10 discount. So go to www.streamyard.com. And yes, I will get to the other two Met players that has been added to the All-Star break in a couple of minutes. And yes, of course, I don't really cover the Yankees, but it's a little, hold on a second. It's a little nuts. Anyway, we got some unfortunate injuries that we have to talk about here, man, which involves two Mets players, actually pitchers. Actually, they're pitchers. So, thank you. All right, so let's get to it right here with the quick side bleacher bar. All right. Now I want to get this out the way. So let's talk about the injuries that's happened. All right, we got some unfortunate news to talk about as far as two pitchers. Actually, two pitchers that are relievers. Actually, so we'll get into it right here. Um, all right, so unfortunately, we have some injuries to get to. So let's get it over with before I get into anything else. All right. So, according to AMNY.com, here's what's happening. The Mets pitching ranks continue to thin out due to an onslaught of injuries that claimed two more arms on Thursday. The team announced prior to their series finale against the Milwaukee Brewers that starting pitcher Paul Blackburn was placed on the 15-day injured list, retroactive to June 30th, with a right shoulder impingement. Reliever Dedniel Nunez was also placed on the 15-day IL with a right elbow sprain. Both Blackburn and Nunez had spent significant time this season on the shelf, their impacts lasting all but a few weeks. Blackburn had been sidelined since spring training with knee inflammation that provided a problematic rehab. He did not make his 2025 debut until June 2nd when he fired five scoreless innings in Los Angeles against the reigning champion Dodgers. Hmm. Jeez. Initially losing out on a starting rotation spot to both Tyler McGill and Griffin Canning, the 31-year-old was supposed to be a bullpen piece, but McGill and Canning are out. The latter for the rest of the season with the ruptured Achilles, while Kodai Singer and Sean Manaea inch their way back from the injured list. Damn, damn. That really has to really fucking suck right here. You know, nobody is wishing injuries and bad things happening here, man. I'm not the ignorant one right here. Okay, so let's not get it twisted here. This is crazy. let's continue. Um, let's see. Yes. Um, where were we? In 6 appearances, 4 starts, he was 0-3 with a 7.71 ERA as he allowed 17 runs, 16 earned in his next 5 outings. Nunez only lasted 10 games this season after recovering from an elbow injury last season. While he made his season debut on May 5th, he was optioned to AAA, walking 6 batters in just 3.2 innings of work. He returned on June 22nd, posting a 3.00 ERA across 6 innings of work, including two-thirds of a scoreless 6 inning during the Mets' 7-3 win over Milwaukee on Wednesday night at Citi Field. In corresponding moves, the Mets recalled right-handers Justin Hageman and Rico Garcia from the minors, which I will do a separate episode about that um, in regards to the Milwaukee game and the Subway Series. All right. So next we talk about let's talk about okay, let's talk about some basketball news for a second. All right. Okay. According to Sports Illustrated, after trading a few back veterans back in December, Brooklyn did not move any players before the NBA trade line. Trade, excuse me, and NBA deadline. Excuse me, NBA trade deadlines. This year's NBA trade deadline was perhaps the most chaotic we've ever seen. A plethora of all-star players, along with plenty of veterans, were moved and have changed the landscape of the league. Despite all of the chaos and constant movement from many teams across the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets were unexpectedly quiet. They were projected to be moving a lot more than a lot more talent than they did this season. But after trading Dennis Schroeder and Dorian Finney Smith back in December, the Nets were silent this NBA trade season. The driving factor behind Brooklyn being quiet was the fact that the team was not actively shopping any of its players. Cam Johnson, a veteran forward having a career year, was coveted by a multitude of teams that were giving Brooklyn lucrative trade packages. It was reported a few days ago that the Nets were not actively shopping Johnson, rather listening to offers. Brooklyn had an extremely high asking price of at least 2 first round picks, but no offer was good enough. Johnson, along with centers Nick Claxton and Ron Sharp, generated interest from around the league ahead of the deadline. As we move past one of the most important dates of the season, they, along with the other veterans, remain on the roster. The Nets being silent could have major implications on their future. At 17 and 34, holding the 12th seed in the Eastern Conference, Brooklyn is looking to put itself in position for a high lottery odds in the 2025 NBA draft. Holding on to these veterans who have impacted many games this season hurts those odds. The Nets currently have the sixth highest odds at the number one overall pick in 2025. They sit a game in front of the Toronto Raptors in the standings and 7.5 games ahead of the Washington Wizards, who have the highest odds at the number one pick. So this is a little recap of what happened. Um, the goal for Brooklyn, along with every other lottery team, is Duke freshman Cooper Flag. While this year's draft class is regarded as one of the deepest in a while, Flag is viewed as one of the most generational talents in a long time. General manager Sean Marks made a huge mistake by not shopping Johnson at the very least. The only way this pays off is if the Nets maximize his trade value in the offseason. Okay, next we talk about let's see. Next we are going to talk about two players that got sent down to AAA of the New York Mets. So, and this is from Clutch Points. Atlanta Braves star Ronald Acuna Jr. returned from a lengthy injury layoff in May. Hold on, hang on a second. Since rejoining the Braves lineup, the former NL, hang on a second. Yeah, the former NL MVP has been raking, posting a 396 batting average and 1.202 OPS in 27 games. His younger brother, however, has gone in the other direction as New York Mets infielder Luis Angel Acuna is mirrored in a dreadful slump. Woof! Wonder why. Damn, that's crazy. Let me see. Let me see. Yes. So, in case you didn't know, two of the players got sent down to AAA. I may have covered it in the last episode, but in case you didn't know, I will actually recap this again. Following the 7-1 loss to the Philadelphia Phillies Sunday, Acuna was optioned to AAA Syracuse. According to the team's official account on X, right-handed pitcher Tyler Zuber would join Acuna in the minors. Acuna made his major league debut late in the 2024 season for the Mets and well in limited action. The then 22-year-old slash 308, 326, 641 for New York in 14 games last year. Acuna even hit his first career home run, helping the Mets in their chase for a playoff berth. After struggles in 2025, the Mets demote Luis Angel Acuna. This season, Acuna ended up as the Mets opening day second baseman veteran. Um, Jeff McNeil began the year on the injured list, but Acuna hasn't been able to duplicate the success of his strong September stretch with the club in 2024. He's batted 241 with a 576 OPS through 65 games in 2025. However, over the last month, the Mets infielder has bottomed out. Acuna is slashing 138, 167, 138 in 23 games since May 23rd. That's the same day his all-star brother returned to the Braves lineup after missing a full year with a torn ACL. But the two Acunas have gone in entirely different directions since then. The elder Acuna has 8 home runs since his return to Atlanta's lineup, while Luis Angel Acuna's next home run will be his first of the season. He hasn't had an extra base hit since May 2nd, a span of 38 games, although that's a bit misleading as Acuna only had 70 plate appearances in that stretch, as the Mets often used him as a defensive replacement late in games. Acuna joined the Mets as part of the Max Scherzer trade deadline deal with the Texas Rangers in 2023. He quickly became one of New York's top prospects for his speed and ability to hit for average, while his while he's never displayed Ronald's prodigious power. Luis Angel has shown that base stealing runs in the family. Acuna swiped 57 bags in 121 AA games in 2023, and he stole 40 bases at the AAA level last season. Wow. And let me see. Let me see. Hold on a second here. Hang on one second. Um, where is it? One second. Francisco, no, excuse me, Francisco Alvarez also got sent down to AAA as well as Luis Angel Acuna. So Francisco Alvarez's ninth inning home run Saturday night wasn't enough to keep him in the Mets uniform. The struggling catcher was optioned on Sunday to AAA Syracuse, where he will have an opportunity to refine his game offensively and defensively away from the spotlight. It leaves Luis Torrens as the as the starting catcher. Hayden Sanger was recalled from Syracuse and will serve as the backup. The 23-year-old Alvarez owns a 236, 319, 333 slash line with 3 homers and 11 RBIs on 35 games for the Mets this season. Alvarez didn't begin playing for the team until late April after undergoing surgery in spring training for a broken hamate bone in his left thumb. That's also been an issue for him to get power to actually, hit home runs. Alvarez's struggles have also occurred behind the plate. Most recently, he threw to the wrong base in the 10th inning of a loss to the Braves, allowing the eventual winning run to reach third. Alvarez struggled offensively for much of the last season after returning from surgery to repair a torn ligament in his left thumb. Alvarez hit one of the Mets' 7 homers in their 11-4 victory over the Phillies on Saturday as the team snapped a 7-game losing streak. Okay. All right, so let's get into let's get into what's going on here. Let's get into what's going on here. All right, so what we have here. All right, so let's go into Frankie Montas. So Frankie Montas made his return. He made his return actually most recently. Um, he made his return, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is according to Yahoo Sports. So Frankie Montas reverted to the form Sunday that caused concern during his minor league rehab assignment. The veteran right-hander in his second start off the injured list surrendered 2 home runs inning in and was removed after the fourth in the Mets 12-1 loss to the Pirates at PNC Park. Overall, Montas allowed 6 earned runs on 7 hits with 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. Montas pitched to a 12.05 ERA in six minor league starts while rehabbing a high grade lat strain. But Montas shined in his season debut for the Mets with five scoreless innings against the Braves last Tuesday. This time he faced eight batters in the first inning. It was just the first inning. I was missing my spots a little bit, said Montas, who fell into a 5-0 hole before recording the third out. After after that, I thought I threw some pretty good pitches. The Mets could have used length from Montas a day after the bullpen was needed for seven innings behind an underwhelming Paul Blackburn Paul Blackburn performance following a 1.5 rain delay. A night earlier, David Peterson failed to complete five innings. I wanted to go out there and go as long as I can, said Montas, who threw 86 pitches in his four innings. I feel like Richard Lovelady did a real good job picking me up, but I have got to pitch in another 5 days, and I have got to continue working on things. Of course, Montas' next turn will come during the Subway Series. And by the way, he did receive his first win. He did receive his first win as a Met, though. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, congratulations to Frankie Montas on his first win. All right. Um, all right. So let's go on to. all right. All right. I've been holding out. I've been holding out on Jack Flaherty a little bit. Let me see. I've been holding out on Jack Flaherty a bit. Um, and let's see. Yeah, I've been holding out on Jack Flaherty. Let's talk about him. Okay, let's get into it. What would 2020? What would the 2024 Tigers playoff run um have looked like? Hang on one second. One second. Um, yeah, whatever looked like with Jack Flaherty in the rotation. They can't replay the trade deadline. They did the next best thing by bringing Flaherty back for another try. Of course, the Tigers on Friday officially announced they've signed Flaherty back on a 2-year, $35 million contract that includes an opt-out after this coming season. The deal will pay Flaherty a $20 million salary this year, along with a $5 million signing bonus, and includes. Hang on a second. What's going on here? Yeah. Hang on a second. Includes a $10 million player option for 2026 that would increase to $20 million if he makes at least 15 starts this season. The contract also includes a one-time signing bonus of $500,000. That's $500,000. Jeez. And you say this is not a lot of money. It is a lot. um, yeah. All right. Let's continue. Flaherty's reunion with the Tigers brings him back to Comerica Park, where his career resurgence last spring and summer was one of Detroit's bright spots before the team's resurgence down the stretch. In quote, first and foremost, we want players who want to be here, and Jack has been very outspoken publicly and privately about how much he enjoyed his time in Detroit and that he'd be interested in coming back. Tigers president of baseball operations Scott Harris said Friday. So I was in contact with his agent all season. I didn't know if we were going to be able to make something work or not. But we got to a point in the off season where we really started to roll up our sleeves and try to hammer out a deal that made sense for both sides. We're thrilled to bring Jack back. We're really proud of the year that he put together last year. He is a very popular guy in our clubhouse. And I will say, from my standpoint, it is a huge step forward for this organization to have a player of Jack's caliber be outspoken about wanting to come back to Detroit. He had no connection to Detroit before last year. Flaherty signed with Detroit last year on a 1 year deal, looking to recapture his younger, more powerful form, which he did superbly. Working with pitching coach Chris Fetter and assistants Juan Nieves and Robin Lund, Flaherty reworked his movement and his delivery became more direct and regained life on his fastball. Flaherty went 7-5 with a 2.95 ERA and 18 starts for Detroit as he teamed with American League Cy Young Award winner Tariq Skubal for a dynamic duo atop the Tigers' rotation. Yet, with injuries and inconsistencies in Detroit's lineup, it wasn't enough to keep the team over 500 during the summer, let alone in apparent contention. Okay, all right, on to the next topic. On to the next topic. Hang on a sec. We got to talk about David Peterson here. We got to talk about David Peterson here, man. A little. Now, hold on. Before I get to David Peterson, I want to get to the progress of Sean Manaea. As you can see, according to the Brooklyn Reporter, he's been in Brooklyn with the Cyclones on rehab assignments. So here's what's going on here. Since taking first place 2 weeks ago, the Cyclones have been unable to gain any further headway than a game and a half past the pesky second place Greenboro Grass. With the middle of June approaching, time is winding down to earn a guaranteed postseason playoff spot as the reward for finishing on top of the division for the first half of the season. It's it's one game at a time for us, said manager Gilbert Gomez. The team really wants it. We just have to do things that are in our control. Upon the Cyclones' return from Wilmington, the Mets sent rehabbing pitcher Manaea, who has an oblique strain, to Brooklyn to start the Asheville home stand. Manaea was masterful, throwing 22 scoreless innings before reaching his pitch limit, mixing up his fastball and signature off-speed pitch. The Mets' 3 year, $75 million lefty gave up just 2 hits and a walk while striking out four and throwing 31 out of 46 pitches for strikes. With Manaea setting the tone for the game, fellow lefty Jonathan Santucci came in for the fourth inning to pitch 4.1 innings in relief to give the Cyclones their 14th straight home win. In addition to Cyclone pitching, it was also the offensive efforts from two key players that set the Brooklyn scoring into motion. Shortstop Boston Barrow went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs, while right fielder Carson Bench went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs for the final 8-2 Brooklyn win. Besides the besides the needed offense to win games, lately Cyclones pitching has taken center stage and was on display for one of Brooklyn's games in the last World Series at Wilmington. After taking a hard luck 2-0 loss to the Blue Claws, the Cyclones came back the next night in a classic pitching performance for a 1-0 win. In a piggyback pairing, Nate Daum earned his first win of the season, while Noah Hall, ordinarily a starter, earned his first save to close out the game for the shutout. Daum, the Mets' third pick of the 2023 draft from Mississippi State, got the win by pitching 5 full innings while giving up just 2 hits and striking out 6. Relying on his fastball and a mix of pitches, Dom was able to retire his last 9 batters after giving up 2 doubles. Piggybacking in quote out of out of the bullpen to finish the game, Noah Hall gave up just 1 hit and also had outs over 4 innings. In the eighth inning, Hall had his teammates on the edge of their seats when he finally induced a fly to center to end the inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Hall also got in trouble with 2 outs in the ninth when he gave up a double off the center field wall. Then throwing inside, Hall put the winning run on first base with a close pitch that hit the next batter. Finally, with 2 outs and 2 runners on base, Hall bore down and induced a pop up to the infield to give the Cyclones the hard fought 1-0 win. We really needed that game, especially after that 2-0 loss that the night before. Excuse me, 2-0 loss the night before, said Gomez. I knew that Hall wanted it and that he had it in him to finish the game, even though he was troubled. He's been a bulldog for us all season long. All right, David Peterson. David Peterson, we got to talk about this guy. We got to talk about this guy. Unsung hero who by the way, we got to talk about this though, man. We got to talk about this guy, man. So David Peterson, according to New York Post, David Peterson recorded the final out of the eighth inning, lugged an arm that had thrown 97 pitches to the dugout and did not glance at his manager. Carlos Mendoza huddled with his pitching coaches, Jeremy Hefner and Desi Drusko, and discussed how far they believed the lefty could be pushed. Mendoza glanced at Peterson, who didn't want to give me a look. Mendoza said as if in an acknowledgement of the moment might ruin the moment. But this moment on the the precipice of what in 2025 surely feels like history, given its scarcity demanded a conversation. Mendoza soon after met with Peterson in the tunnel that leads out of the dugout and had a short chat. And let me finish it. Peterson told him, Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Um, and and Mendoza responds, "All right, it's yours." A complete game shutout for the first of his career was Peterson's on Wednesday when he shut down the Nationals, tested his manager, and saved his bullpen in a 5-0 victory at Citifield. End quote. It's awesome. You dream of doing stuff like this, Peterson said after becoming the first Met to throw a complete game since Luis Severino on August 17th of last year, and the first Mets lefty to toss a complete game shutout since Steven Matz on July 27th, 2019. Yes, that's right. 2019. Things that happen once every 6 years are pretty cool, said Brennan Nimmo, who led the offense with 2 home runs. A complete game shutout in 2025 requires an efficient pitcher who is able to pitch to contact with the type of stuff that can get himself out of trouble and the type of mentality that stares down that trouble and don't mind the car. Peterson, who has been one of the better pitchers in baseball since returning from hip surgery about a year ago, checked off all the boxes. It's been fun to see him grow up in front of my eyes, Nimmo said after a fifth straight win for the Mets, 44-24. Um, yeah, it requires a manager who is willing to listen to his players, even if the conversations and decisions are not quite obvious. Of course, Mendoza wants to protect Peterson, who shrunk his ERA to 2.49 and is a massive piece of a club that has World Series aspirations. With, with 97 pitches on the odometer, Mendoza told Peterson could have the ninth, but also ensured Ryan Stanek was warmed up in the bullpen. He conferred with Luis Torrens and told the catcher that Peterson had 8 or 9 pitches to record the final 3 outs, or else Stanek would be summoned. So I went out there with a plan to get a quick ninth. Torrens said simply, and Peterson only needed 9 pitches to get Ahmed Rosario to line out, James Wood to strike out, and Andres Chaparro to ground out. Peterson pumped his fist, smiled a wide smile, and gave Torrens a hug. Another hug was soon due to Mendoza. No one quite tests Mendoza like Peterson, who is sure of himself, confident, and a bulldog who does not like to be pulled. You don't see this too often, especially with pitch counts and max efforts, Mendoza said after Peterson became the fourth pitcher in the majors this year to throw a shutout without allowing a walk. Seeing a performance like that nowadays, it's something that we don't take for granted. You just have to enjoy it. Peterson was excellent over those 9 innings, in which he let up 6 hits. He only struck out 6, pitching to contact that was driven into the ground, but seemed to save the strikeouts for the moments they were required. He twice found himself in danger. The first time in the seventh inning in which he bailed himself out. Rosario and Wood came up with back-to-back singles to begin the frame, as if a flip were switched. Avoid contact, keep the runners right there. Peterson used nasty sliders to strike out Chaparro and Nathaniel Lowe before Alex Cole grounded out. He needed some help in the eighth. After a Luis Garcia Jr. double, Jacob Young shot a single to a just sub in Tyrone Taylor in center field, who came off the bench warm. Taylor fired a one hopper to Torrens, who caught the ball a few feet in front of the plate and then leaped backward, applying a tag just before Garcia's hand touched the plate. Um, it's something I couldn't have done without Luis, excuse me, and defense, and obviously the offense putting up runs. Peterson said it's just a huge team effort. This is all theirs as well. All right, let's go on to some recaps. Some recaps of what happened with the Cardinals game, and I want to actually I want to talk about the torpedo bats for a second before I go on to some recaps and stuff. So, of course, obviously, the title in the episode, wow, here comes the torpedo bats. And you're probably wondering what they are and what they look like, right? All right, this is from justbats.com. All right, so recently adopted by several New York Yankees players, these unique design wood bats are making headlines at the start of the 2025 MLB season. At Just Bats, we're proud to spotlight the groundbreaking development and offer insight into how these baseball bats could elevate your own performance. If you've been on social media in the past few days, chances are you've seen the buzz about torpedo bats. These wood bats have exploded in popularity, leaving many players, coaches, and parents with questions about what makes them special and whether they are the right choice for their game. Yeah, and you're probably wondering what are torpedo bats. So, torpedo bats have captured attention with their unique design and performance claims. While we can't speak we can't speak to all the specifics. Hang on one second. Yeah, so all right, so what are torpedo bats, you ask? I'm sorry I had to put it on mute because of the plane. So what are torpedo bats, you ask? Torpedo bats have captured the attention with their unique design and performance claims. While we can't speak to all the specifics made them go viral so quickly, we can offer our perspective as bat experts who have tested and reviewed countless models over the years. While torpedo bats are made recently famous by the Yankees, here are some players across the league using these bats. What makes a torpedo wood bat different, you ask? Torpedo bats are defined by a radically different barrel structure. This unorthodox shape helps concentrate power at the point of impact, producing more things and bigger hits. Each bat is tailored for the individual hitter with slight variations in shape and tapering to complement their unique swing mechanics. The Yankees' embrace of torpedo bats have coincided with a historic offensive surge. Players like Anthony Volpe, Jazz Chisholm Jr., and Cody Bellinger have already launched a barrage of home runs, including a jaw dropping 9-homer game and a 15-homer weekend, tying an MLB record for homers in the first three games of a season. Coaches and analysts, analysts Coaches and analysts agree the torpedo bat represents a logical evolution in bat design. As Orioles hitting coach Cody Ash put it, finding out where you hit the ball in the sweet spot, putting more mass there. Come on. Yes, putting more mass there without changing too many things. That's probably the next progression in hitting. This data driven customization aligns with modern performance optimization, tailoring equipment to maximize natural swing patterns and contact zones. Should you get one? Before jumping on the torpedo bat bandwagon, it's important to consider a few key factors. Number one, your playing level. Different bats are designed for different skill levels. What works for a professional or college player might not be ideal for a youth or high school athlete. Number two, league regulations. League regulations. Not all bats Not all bats are approved for all leagues. Before investing, make sure any bat you purchase meets your league specific requirements. Your hitting style. Number three, your hitting style. Every player has a unique swing and approach at the plate. The hot new bat might not complement your particular strengths. Long term value. Number four, long term value includes viral sensations, sometimes fade quickly. Consider whether this is a lasting investment or a temporary trend. Not every player will benefit from the torpedo design. As Guardians manager Stephen Vogt, VOGT, Stephen Vogt wisely notes, it's still a human that has to hit it. It's not the bat hitting the homer. Familiarity, feel, and comfort still reigns in the batter's box. Brandon Lockbridge of the Pirates, who previously tried the bat in spring training, chose to stick with his traditional motto, citing personal consistency as the main factor. So while the torpedo bat is making headlines, it may not be a one size fits all solution. Yeah, you can check it. You can check out the prices of these torpedo bats on justbats.com. All right. All right, let's go to a little bit of a recap of what went down with the 4-game sweep of the Cardinals, which was won by the New York Mets. So let's get into it. Let's get into this right here. All right, all right, this is from Amazing Avenue. Even those of us who haven't been lucky enough to make it to Citifield yet this year can tell just by watching on television that the environment there is simply equal to what we've seen over the years. The fans are feeling the excitement surrounding the franchise, and so far it seems like the team is feeding into the crowd enthusiasm in the early goings. Indeed, the Mets have been nothing short of a stellar in their home games this year, and that has been culminated in this 4-game series against the Cardinals. This afternoon's series finale saw the completion of a 4-game sweep that put the team's home record at 9-1 so far in 2025. Today was arguably the toughest pitching matchup that Amazons faced in this series, as Clay Holmes faced off against Sonny Gray. After a scoreless first inning from Holmes, the Mets quickly got on the board in the bottom of the frame, as Francisco Lindor belted a leadoff home run into the second deck in right field. A blast that looked remarkably similar to his walk-off shot a couple of days ago. The next hit for the Amazons didn't happen until the third inning when Tyrone Taylor led off with a line drive single. That was followed by another hit from Lindor, this time a single. Two bags later, which put runners on first and third with one out. Juan Soto then came up and broke his bat on a fly ball to shallow center field. Taylor decided to break for the plate despite center fielder Lars Nootbaar having momentum on his throw home, and he managed to just sneak his hand in before the tag to score, making it 2-zip. The Mets would continue to add to their lead, tagging on another run off Gray in the bottom of the fifth with two outs in the frame. Soto hit a ground ball that just got through the hole between first and second, and he then advanced to second on a wild pitch. Pete Alonso, who has been an RBI machine in 2025, then added another to his to his tally with a single to center, which brought the third run of the game home. Holmes, meanwhile, spent most of his afternoon dealing with some traffic on the base paths, but keeping the Cardinals off the board. They finally did manage to score their first run of the game in the sixth when Brandon Donovan led off with a double, advanced to third on a wild pitch, and scored on a soft ground ball to second to make it 3-1. Holmes managed to keep the score there, though thanks in part to Brandon Nimmo, who robbed Jordan Walker of a home run. Who could ever forget that flying catch, though, man? Oh shit! Yeah, yeah, Brandon Nimmo, who robbed Jordan Walker of a home run on a leaping catch to end the frame. That play helped Holmes complete his first six-inning start of the season, with his final line being perhaps his best of the year thus far. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 walks, 1 run, and six strikeouts. The Mets had a chance to add one more run against Gray in the bottom of the inning as a walk, stolen base, and ground ball to first base put a runner on third with one out. Unfortunately, Brett Beatty popped up, and Taylor flew out to waste the chance. That would come back to bite them, as it did not take long once Holmes was gone for the Cardinals to come charging back. Danny Young started the top of the seventh. The lefty has been at the bottom of the bullpen pecking order, but with the bottom of the lineup and two lefty hitters coming up, it was good. It was as good as a time. It was good as it was good a time as you are gonna get for him. And Danny Young is already on the injured list, so he's not coming back anytime soon. He quickly got in some trouble, however, putting runners on first and second with a single. Um, and on a line drive that Lindor jumped for and almost caught, but which just squeezed out of his glove for an infield hit and a walk. With two outs, Carlos Mendoza turned to Jose Buto to try to retire um, Thomas Sag Thomas Sag Jesse, right-handed hitter, to end the inning. Alas Sag Jesse greeted him with a line drive to the left field wall, scoring both runners and tying things up. Budo did finish the inning without giving anything else up, and the Mets quickly got to work on retaking the lead against the Cardinals bullpen, starting with lefty Jojo Romero. Following a leadoff strikeout by Hayden Singer, Lindor hit a chopper into no man's land toward the third base line and made it to first on the leadoff single. His third hit of the day. Soto then walked to put runners on first and and third, and Oli Marmol brought in Phil Maton to try to get out of the jam. To get out of the jam. Get out of the jam. The former Met did strike out Alonso for the second out, but Nimmo then provided a ground ball single to center field to score Lindor and put the Mets back up by one. After Maton struck out Jesse Winker looking to end the frame, Buto came back out and redeemed himself a little bit before giving up the two-run double, pitching a 1-2-3/8. In the bottom of the frame, the the BABIP gods smiled upon the Mets to help provide them with some more assurance. Facing off against Ryan Fernandez, um, Luis Angel Acuna hit a soft ground ball that got past Nolan Gorman at third, attempting a barehanded pickup. The ball trickled far enough for Acuna to make it all the way to second for, as Gary Cohen put it, the softest double he'll ever hit. Oh man. After striking out Beatty, Fernandez then gave up another soft contact double. This one a bloop over the first baseman's head off the bat of Tyrone Taylor to give home another to bring home another run. After a walk to pinch hitter Luis Torrens and a ground ball fielder's choice put runners on first and third with two outs. The Mets finally got some runs without the benefit of the BABIP gods. As Juan Soto lined a ball to left center field to bring two more runs home and make it 7-3. The insurance runs proved to be helpful as Ryan Stanek, after the first two outs without much trouble, gave up two hits, both singles, and with the first runner advancing to second on defensive indifference to bring home a run for the Cardinals. But that would prove to be the extent of the damage. As Sagasi, Sagasi, excuse me, struck out swinging to end the game and the series. Home Warriors indeed. Now the Mets will prepare a crucial series against the Philadelphia Phillies, and they will hope that the good City Field vibes will continue. Yeah, of course. Of course. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything else I need to talk about here. Yeah, so that's pretty good though, man. And yeah, so I just talked about that right there. Um, man. Yeah. So there you go, right there. Um. Okay. So I found out today the New York Mets at Citi Field in Flushing, Queens, which is their home. They are about 33-14 because they just lost today's game of the season finale of the Subway Series of the Yankees versus the Mets. So I will actually gladly talk about that in a future episode. And and of course, I'd like to actually mention some congratulations. I'd like to mention some congratulations to two more Met players. Besides Francisco Lindor being added to the All Star, to being an All Star. Um, Earlier, as I was watching TV, Edwin Diaz has been added to being an all-star alongside with Pete Alonso as I was watching SNY. Right, so congratulations to Francisco Lindor, Edwin Diaz, and of course, Pete Alonso. These three truly deserve to be in the All-Star break. Um, and by the way, in case you didn't know what day the MLB All-Star game starts, it starts on July 15th at Truist Park, and it airs on it airs on it airs at 8 p.m. on Fox 5. Check your local listings. Now, I do want to actually let me see if there's anything else. All right, I do want to get into. All right, I do want to get into. Oh boy, I do want to get into. Let me see. I do want to get into podcast juice of the week, sports podcast juice of the week. I want to actually talk about that too. So let's get into it right here, right now. Let me see. I forgot to. All right, so let's get into sports podcast of the week. All right. This is where I fill you in on some sports podcasts for you to check out at home and on streaming platforms, including YouTube. All right. So, yeah. So here we go. Um, so here we go. Sports podcast of the week. All right. All right. I want to actually fill you in on some podcasts that you can actually check out and stuff in sports. Actually, I forgot to add another podcaster who actually checked out recently. That actually checked out recently some sports podcasts actually. So I forgot to mention the I forgot to mention Beyond the Jersey podcast. All right, make sure you check that out on streaming platforms and on YouTube. And so let's see, is there anything else I forgot to mention? Let's see. Um, let's see some sports podcasts. Yes, yes, I will gladly go over some sports podcasts with you all. Of course, you have Shay and Sons podcast, to Meticulous Part podcast, Subway the Shay podcast. You have the Umpire State of Baseball podcast, Shay Station. Um, Let me see if there's anything else I forgot to mention. Let me see if there's anything else. If there's anything else I need to actually talk about. If I forget anything, please forgive me. Um, yes. So let me just mention. Okay, so we have we have mostly Mets, couple Mets. We have Wardy NYM, a show about the New York Mets podcast, Mets Fix. First time listener, long time caller by Laura Albanese, who you may know from Newsday and SNY. Meet at the Apple, New York Mets podcast by Vito Calisi, Jonathan Barron. We have Locked On Mets, um, We have Locked On Mets plus the Locked On Mets postcast. Of course, Locked Up Sports. We got Locked Up. We got Locked Up Sports. Um, hang on a second. Yeah. We have CP's True Mets Talk podcast. He did this to me podcast. Just baseball show for baseball fans. Mets Central, Shea Station, Mets the podcast, Subway Sports Talk, Mets podcast. We gotta believe. We got Filthy Sports, Foul Territory, Unpopular Opinion Sports, Sports Talk Nation, Dead End Sports, Locked On Sports Today podcast, 24/7 stories in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and the NCAA. We got Mayday with Trevor May, Why Am I a Mets Fan podcast. We have Locked On New York Giants, Good Morning Football podcast, NFL Good Morning Football podcast. You know what? You know I'm right podcast. Talking baseball, Mets Weekly. We have Hoops for Hotties, Baseball America, the Mets Pod, the Triborough podcast, and of course, Mets Daily by Jake Brown. Make sure you subscribe to all those channels. Unapologetically Angel. We got Ringer NBA, National League Town, a Mets podcast, and let me see if there's anything else. Anything else I need to talk about here? All right. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Where did I leave off? Yes, the call up, an MLB prospect podcast. Got let me see what else. We have Digging Weekly and Digging Deep podcast. And of course we got the Umpire State Sports Report podcast by Adriana. And also you can also check her out on Giants Latest. All right, so let's see if there's anything else, anything sports related that I should talk about. Let's see. Yes. So so let me just go over. Okay. Let's see. Locked On Mets podcast by Ryan Finkelstein, alongside with the Locked On Mets postcast with Chris Schubert. Of course, be sure to also check out. Be sure to check out a YouTuber who's also a New York Mets fan by Dominant Mets Nation. The Mets Pod, Metcast. Let's see. The Rico Bronya podcast with Evan Roberts. We also have Believe in Mets podcast. Top Bunk Sports 7 Express podcast. We have some other sports to talk about. Locked On Big 12 podcast, the Locked On Yankees podcast and postcast, Locked On NBA E Squad podcast, the Deferred Collusion podcast, Locked On Fantasy Baseball, Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast. You got the Locked On Nets podcast. You got Locked On NBA and Locked On NBA Game Night. Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night podcast as well. You got Locked On Fantasy Football podcast as well. Nothing Personal with David Sampson, Early Game, First Pitch MLB Daily Recap podcast, Flipping Bats and Nerds, Locked Up Sports, New York Sports Talk, TMZ Sports, Locked On New York Giants podcast. It Is What It Is podcast, Locked On College Football, Locked On College Basketball podcast, Locked On NFL Draft podcast, Queensboro's Sports podcast, Shea Less podcast, Empire State Sports Report podcast, Giants Latest, Locked On MLB Game Night podcast, Locked On Syracuse podcast, and of course Locked On Mets Postcast. I just mentioned that. Full Circle podcast, and I did mention Hoops for Hotties podcast for you to check out. Mesmerize Online podcast, and of course you can also check out on SNY's YouTube channel, Mets Off Day Live, which is going to be tomorrow. The Blunt Talk Sports podcast, and also be sure to check out two sports shows by Dexter Henry, New York Got Game basketball podcast, and of course his recent new platform, straight out of Flushing Mets podcast. All right, be sure to check those out, subscribe, and be sure to actually subscribe to every streaming platform of those podcasts that I just mentioned right there. All right, and yeah, Bourbon and Baseball. Be sure to check that out as well. And I think that's about it, though, man. I think that's about it. So be sure to subscribe to every streaming platforms that I just mentioned. Of course, Beyond the Jersey podcast, be sure to check that out as well. Let's see. Hold on, let me add that. Beyond the Jersey. Beyond Jersey podcast. Okay. And make sure I add that too. Okay. Now I do want to remind y'all about the next telecast that's going to be happening on Tuesday as the Mets go against the Baltimore Orioles. Let me get in there. All right, so starting on Tuesday, July 8th, the Mets are going to be going against the Baltimore Orioles, which is going to be starting at 6:35 p.m. on SNY. Wednesday, July 9th, the Mets are going against the Orioles at 7:09 p.m. on ESPN. Thursday, July 10th, New York Mets versus the Orioles, which is an afternoon game, 1:05 p.m. 1:05 p.m. So they are going to be on SNY. Friday, July 11th, New York Mets versus Kansas City Royals is going to be at 8:10 p.m. on SNY. Saturday, July 12th, New York Mets versus Kansas City Royals, 4:10 p.m. on SNY. And Sunday, July 13th, New York Mets versus Kansas City Royals, 2:10 p.m. on Pix 11. And the Mets don't return to Citifield until July 18th to play The Cincinnati Reds at Citifield. Friday, July 18th, Cincinnati Reds versus New York Mets, 7:10 p.m. in Flushing, Queens, New York. New York, actually, which is going to be on SNY. Hopefully, hopefully it's not on Apple TV. Hopefully it's not on Apple TV. You know what? Let's do a little double check here. Let's do a little double check here on the Mets schedule here because I want I don't want no fucking surprises to see a Mets baseball game on Apple TV Plus. Okay, so let's see Mets schedule. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. Let me see if let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Yes, they're going to be on SN1 on July 18th. Okay, so, all right, so July 18th, Friday, July 19th, 4:10 p.m. on SNY. Of course, July 18th is going to be also fireworks night. And of course, Saturday, July 19th is going to be a Mets block party. And also don't forget that there is a David Wright number 5 retirement happening on July 19th. And as Anthony Rivera was talking about earlier, there's also a wrestling event. There's also a wrestling event, and there's also a softball event as well. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up right now. Okay, so events on July 19th. Okay, let's take a look here. July 19th at Citi Field. At Citi Field, hold up. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Yeah, there's also a block party. Yeah, it's also a block party that's going on. Of course, be sure to get your tickets to check that out because it's going to be going out like hotcakes, man. So hurry up and get it. Let's see. Let's see. There's also the fireworks event. Like I said, it's also let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Where is this? Okay, there is, of course, David Wright. There's retirement. Of course, let me just make sure that I. Yeah, so there you go. Um, Let me see. Okay. Give me 1 second. When I actually. Hold on. Hold up. Wait a second. Oh, what? Okay, so wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. It's also a WWE night that's happening Monday, July 21st, which is my sister's birthday. Of course, you can check that out as well. Um, Let me see. Softball event for a cause. Hold on a second. Let me see. Okay, so let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Um, Damn. Yeah, he just talked about it earlier. I forgot all about that. Yeah. Anyway, so let me continue. Let me continue where I left off here. All right, so they don't return to City Field till like July 19th, 20th, and the 21st. Um, so it's so it's like four. Hold on. They have some games at City Field as well. I forget though. They not only do the Cincinnati Reds, but they also have the Los Angeles Angels, and that's Monday, July 21st, Tuesday, July 22nd, Wednesday, July 23rd. That's going to be on. That's going to be on SNY, and then they go on the road again to San Francisco, San Diego, which I'll save that for another time, man. You know what I'm saying? I will save that for another time. I'll save that for another time, though, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there you go, right there. There you go. All right. I think I'm going to wrap up. I think I'm going to wrap up here. Actually. Um. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I think I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look up something quick though. I want to look up something real quick in regards to. I want to look up something real quick. If he talked about it, I know he talked about it earlier on his podcast earlier as I was watching. I want to actually, if there's any, let me see something here. Let me see something here. Okay, okay, Subway Shay. Yeah. So let me see. Let me see what's going on. Oh, in the meantime, let me just go over what's going on with the All Star Game 2025 lineup, which is sponsored by Mastercard. So I want to let's start off with the American League starting pitchers. So Tariq Skubai, um, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried, Hunter Brown, Jacob DeGrom, and the relief pitchers in the American League are Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader, Andres Munoz. Um, the catchers, the catchers are Cal Raleigh, Alejandro Kirk, first baseman Jonathan Arencia, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., AL second baseman Gleyber Torres, Brandon Lowe, and third baseman Jose Ramirez, Alex Bregman, shortstop Jeremy Pena, and Bobby Wick Jr., and outfielders Aaron Judge, who by the way just made it in, which is crazy. Who made it in actually? Byron Buxton, Riley Green, Stephen Kwan, Javier Baez, Julio Rodriguez. And the DH, the designated hitters, Ryan O'Hearn, Brent Rocker as well. So I don't know if that's true. Anyway, so now to the National League starting pitchers, which is Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler, Chris Sale. Hang on a second. Chris Sale, Logan Webb, Mackenzie Gore. And the National League relief pitchers are Randy Rodriguez, Edwin Diaz from the New York Mets, who got added in. Congratulations. Jason Adam, along with the catchers, Will Smith and Hunter Goodman. Pete Alonso, also from the New York Mets, that got added to. Congratulations to him, too. Freddie Freeman, second baseman, Ketel Marte, Brandon Donovan. National League, third baseman, Manny Machado, and Eugenio Suarez. Francisco Lindor, who just got added recently to the All-Star Game 2025 series. Congratulations to Francisco Lindor. I managed to vote for Francisco Lindor in too. I'm not the only person. Many of you Mets fans out there actually took the chance to actually add Francisco Lindor in. It was long time fucking due, man. He finally got his chance to get in, despite his ups and downs, despite the broken toe, whatever. It doesn't matter because he's still one of the best shortstops that we ever had in the neck of the woods of Queens, New York, at Citi Field. All right, so Ellie De La Cruz is also in there as well. Pete Crow Armstrong. It's the outfielders: Kyle Tucker, James Wood, Corbin Carroll, Ronald Acuna Jr., and of course Fernando Tatis Jr. And the DH, Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Schwarber. All right, there you go, right there, man. These are the names that are included in the All-Star Game 2025, which is going to be taking place at Truist Park, and it's going to be airing Tuesday, July 15th on Fox 5. Check your local listings. All right. What's the other stuff that? Yeah. So there you go, right there. There you go. I want to actually, yeah. Yes. There you go. So there you go, right there, man. All righty then. There you go. What is this? Let's see. What is it? I don't remember. Yeah. So there you go. If it's like, what is this? Okay. All right. I'm truly gonna wrap up here because I don't really. Oh boy. All right. Of course, y'all can listen. Y'all can also listen to Subway Shea podcast as Anthony Rivera was talking about some events that's happening on July 19th, I believe, which is the day of David Wright's retirement number 5 jersey. It's some wrestling event and some softball event. Y'all can listen to that episode that just dropped today. So go to his YouTube channel, subscribe over there as well. And by the way, I forgot to mention about Dexter Henry, man. You could go to the New York the New York Post Sports YouTube channel page. Make sure you subscribe over there. That's where you can catch his 2 sports shows, New York Got Game, basketball podcast, and of course straight out of Flushing Mets podcast. All right, be sure to tune in and press the notification bell, all that great stuff right there. So there you go, right there. This is my shout outs to Dexter Henry, man, doing his thing. And congratulations on out straight out of Flushing Mets podcast. As a Mets fan to you, I want to wish you luck on everything and your journey. One love. All right, let's wrap up here, man. Let's wrap up here. All right, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up here, right here. So, for the last segment of the day is stream choices on the go. All right, make sure you follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, my sports edition show platform on Blue Sky Social, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. And the same goes with my other podcast shows as well, which is on the same social media platforms that I just mentioned just now. All right, so be sure to also follow my other podcast shows that I do, which is the entertainment review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, and of course my comedy Off the Meat Rack Change New York Avenue podcast as well. I do apologize for not being able to drop episode 402 on July 4th, because it was taking mad long for me to actually not only download it, but for me to upload it and set it up on streaming platforms as well. So I do apologize for that. I will try to drop that episode tomorrow, and yeah. And also, you can follow me on Threads as well as my Instagram, G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. All right. And if you go to the link tree that says Linktree/Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod, you're gonna see a whole list of streaming platforms where you can listen to podcast episodes on audio, and of course, I like to mention that that this podcast is also on Apple Podcasts. Please be sure to rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. All right. Yes, we are on Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to rate 5 stars on there. Castbox FM, these are listen notes. Moon FM podcast, Overhaul FM podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Pandora, Podo Polo, Podorama Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser Podcast, Podcast Guru, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podcatcher, and Podcast Republic. We are also on Snit, Spotify. Please add the podcast to your Spotify playlist. All right. Need all the followers and listeners on there as well to chime in as well. Tell me how you feel about today's sports topics in this episode. All right. We are also on Spotify for podcasters. You can also comment on there as well. TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to your favorite music artists, which includes singers, rappers, hip hop artists, radio stations, and of course you can listen. And of course you can listen to the episodes and the podcast for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is follow and subscribe, especially on every streaming platform that I just mentioned. And of course, do the same with YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the sports YouTube channel page, especially on YouTube. Leave a like and a comment on today's sports topics in today's episode. Tell me how you feel about Francisco Lindor, Edwin Diaz, and of course Pete Alonso being added to the All-Star break. They're going to Atlanta, Georgia. That's where it's going to take place. It takes place in Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. In case anybody doesn't know that, I am here to fill you in on that one. I actually did my research on that one as well, where Truist Park is. So yeah, there you go, man. The same Atlanta that made the theme song "Welcome to Atlanta" by Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris. All right, y'all should know this, right? Y'all should know this by now, but I'm just filling you in on that one. All right. All right, and also please share the Linktree link with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with. Spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And of course, add the podcast to your Spotify playlist. And of course, share with your friends, share the videos, and of course, be sure to also enable alerts so you don't miss out on more video podcast episode live stream recordings. And of course, new episodes will be uploaded to the YouTube channel page automatically after each recording on the sports YouTube channel page. And before I forget, new episodes are going to be dropping on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. All right. I haven't had a chance to drop off the previous episodes that I actually recorded previously because I was actually shuffling around the podcast recording schedule and stuff. So yeah, there you go, right there. Don't forget to subscribe to my other YouTube channels that I also do other podcasts, which is my entertainment review show, Meticulous podcast. Please make sure you subscribe over there, and please make sure you subscribe to my primary YouTube channel, which is number one, G Money Stacks 555 for more live video podcast episodes of Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast. All right. And while you're on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the sports YouTube channel pages, including the New York Post Sports YouTube channel page, where you can see Dexter Henry's sports shows, which which is New York Got Game Basketball Podcast, and of course, Straight Out of Flushing Mets Podcast as well. Be sure to catch it on there as well as mine podcast as well. I have 3 separate podcasts, man. Make sure y'all check it out right there. And I appreciate every single one of y'all for listening. This is your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, and I appreciate every single one of you who took the time to actually check out the episodes. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. And of course, follow your goals and dreams. Don't let anybody stop you from doing what you love to do. Be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That gets you into your zone, alongside with tunnel vision, and of course have some good ideas and stuff. And be yourself behind the microphone as you're recording your episodes, alongside with your topics and stuff. Any topics you want to talk about with your podcast, you can go ahead and do it. There is no right or wrong time for you to start a podcast, and there's no right or wrong way for you to do and host your podcast. There's no such thing as a perfect show. There's no such thing as a perfect host. So you know what I'm saying? So I want to actually mention this though, man, to some of the Mets fans out there. There is no quick fix when it comes to winning series and getting sweeps to every series. Every series is very difficult to get sweeps. I just want to actually lay this out because, some, not all Mets fans, some of the Mets fans who actually want to shit on Carlos Mendoza and along with Eric Chavez and whatnot. Listen, man, there is no overnight miracle quick fix, man. Like, can we just get ourselves out of the fucking gutter with the doom and gloom shit, okay? Like, seriously, enough already. Look, as a realistic Mets fan, I always have to be realistic. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. How many times you prepare to play good baseball or whatever case scenario may be. Every team goes through struggles. Every team goes through injuries and all that stuff right there, okay? So you feel what I'm saying, folks? All right. Now that I said my piece, of course, let me know in the comments how you feel about the all-star picks of the New York Mets players that's in the all-star break. Edwin Diaz alongside with Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. And of course, man, y'all take care. I'll see y'all next time in the next episode. Whatsoever. And of course, don't forget. Let's go Mets. Let's not get any more injuries whatsoever. I know that's not going to happen. So, please have faith in your team. Have faith in the New York Mets, man, despite their ups and downs. I'm not going to give up on them, and neither should you. You feel what I'm saying, folks? All right, man. Peace and one love. Let's go, Mets. Good night, everybody.